to the Heidelberg webinar on sustainability in print. My name is Simon Biddlecombe and I am the Pronect project manager, and I'm also your host and moderator for today. I'm joined today by three of our industry experts from within Heidelberg and one additional person from Smithers. So we're starting out with Paul Thompson, a product manager at Heidelberg Druckmaschinen for post-press, packaging and machinery. We have Harald Woerner, product manager, environment sustainability at, again, Heidelberg Druckmaschinen. We have Matt Rockley, product executive, sheet-fed and digital at Heidelberg UK. And our additional guests, we have, it's a pleasure today, we've got Mr. Adam Page, who is the Global Director of Research and Reports at Smithers. Our industry has been hit very hard by the pandemic. That's why we at Heidelberg felt that it's now the time to invest in sustainability and productivity measures. These should make the difference, not just in the industry and to your businesses, but also to our planet. We'd like to share with you today 3 steps: cost cutting, reducing waste, and increasing productivity. I'd like to introduce you to our first speaker today, Mr. Paul Thompson, product manager at Heidelberg Druckmaschinen for post-press packaging machinery. Paul has been with us for 32 years and has a demonstrated history of experience in the machinery industry. He has extensive experience working with die cutters, folder gluers, window patchers, and hot foil machines. Paul will be bringing his experience of the right way to implement automation in print. He's speaking today on time to automate the right processes.
So what are the factors for efficient packaging production? Speed, quality, and setup time. And that means more sheets to the floor, less waste, and higher production time. And equally, that sums up to making more profit. But how do we automate that process to reduce our make ready and our labor costs and increase our performance? So when we're developing machines now going forward, we're developing machines which can integrate into a packaging workflow. Now, the importance of the packaging workflow is that we need to be able to control the whole process from the start to the finish. And that includes starting off with inputting the data once. So if we can input the data once at the very beginning of the process, that saves us the stages of putting and repeating that process when we put it through the die cutter, the folder gluer, the printing press, or various other processes in the stages of the production. We need the basic information in there, because if we have the basic information and it's transferred to each machine, it stops errors being put into the sequence later on. So common tasks like the job, the ID for the tool ID, the job quantity, these are all information that can be put in right at the very beginning. And once we put that information in, it's then important to be able to get the information back out of the machine afterwards. And certainly when you look at the Heidelberg Pronect cockpit, this is a system that enables us to do that very clearly and very precisely. And now when we're developing new products going forward, this is where we have to be able to link that back into this Pronect cockpit, or perhaps some other cockpit that is already in-house at the present time. We have to get that data transparency going both ways. And it's about tracking and reporting both the machines, the jobs, and also about the employees that are running those machines and trying to find out perhaps where the weaknesses are of certain employees, and then retraining them to get the levels up to the same standard across the board. So when we talk about the latest developments in die cutting, we're talking about a Master Matrix 106 CSB. Now this machine was specifically designed and was launched back in the innovation days back in October. So why are we putting this into a slide about automation? Because the facilities that have been added to this machine are clearly designed to automate the process. So whilst the technology, obviously it's a blanking machine. So with blanking, you've taken away the need for stripping and then separating the cartons, a job that traditionally would be done at the folding carton gluer, unless you have a blanking machine. So that's one way of automating the process and reducing your setup times. This particular machine is camshaft driven, so then we can get a higher production speed and also a higher quality. We also have a very smooth sheet transfer, again, improving the quality that we're producing. And then the many quick make-ready functions that we have added to the machine in terms of how we set the delivery rakes, the automatic non-stop feeder and pallet logistics, the way we can put the tools into the machine and adjust the tools in the machine and also take them back out again with very quick releasing systems, very fine micro adjustment, and very easy putting in and out of the 1mm plate. And also, as we mentioned before, digitally integrated into a workflow system. But as a possible alternative, you can now actually adapt machines to combine more than one production step in a single pass. So again, this takes it to another level. So something like a DuoPress 106 FCSB gives you that advantage of having two cutting stations. And the two cutting stations can then be used either for embossing and cutting, or it could also be used as a hot foiling machine, and it could be two in hot foiling applications, so we can weave foil, different color foils into the process, or we could also use it as a foiling machine and then a cutting machine. And then combined with the stripping section and the blanking section, we have one pass productivity. So you're reducing your manning levels, you're reducing your labor, and you're reducing your handling of the product. And also you're increasing your quality, because once it's held into the grippers and you're foiling, for example, and then cutting, you have the exact positioning which is generated in the first place from the print registration into the die cutting or the foiling application via a system called master set. So we can control the registration of the sheet, and then throughout the process, obviously being in the grippers, it doesn't move. So we know then that the foiling to die cut or the foiling to foiling registration is spot on. So your waste is reduced, your output is increased because it's a single pass as opposed to two passes, and your handling of that product is also reduced. So a different way of automating, so making what traditionally has been two passes into a single pass operation. So when we talk of quality, then we have to think about how we're going to register that quality and how we maintain that quality. Traditionally, there's a group of people that the quality is their responsibility, and you're checking either randomly or perhaps on the back of a folder gluer to maintain and check the quality during the last process before it goes out the door. There are now automated systems available to do that, where you have the offline inspection system. This is a separate process where you can put your cartons, you're already pre-cut, printed, die cut, hot foiled. You put it into the diner eye, and with multiple cameras, we can then really see exactly what has been done to that carton surface. We can see the positioning of the foil. We can see the color variation, if there is anything. We can also see the die cut to print registration issues, if there are any. And we can also look for scratches, hickeys, marks. All these kind of things can be done automatically by printing and programming it to a golden image. And when you're considering that you're running up to 120,000 cartons an hour, you know, this really is quality control at a high speed. And the beauty of it is it's one system. It's not several pairs of eyes with their own interpretation of looking at that individual carton. So here we see the advantages of automated quality control. And then we take it the next stage forward, and then we look at the folder gluer side. What can we do on a folder gluer? So with a folder gluer, we have obviously the advantages of having multiple applications. And you're looking at machines now which are very versatile. So you have a complete range to meet today's production demands. And operating assistance, this becomes very vital as perhaps skill levels are a little bit short, certainly as we go down through the packaging production lines where press guys seem to be aplenty, die cutting guys a little bit less, and folder gluer guys are even more less. We start to need that level of support on the machines, and the complexity of producing lots of individual carton styles becomes very important. So the key here then is offering facilities like automatic setup with a system called AutoSet. So each of the carton profiles you want to run are recorded into the system, and then the information is sent down to the carriage position so we can move the carriages to the final position that we require. If you don't want to go the fully automated system, there's also a semi-automatic system called DigiSet, which does exactly the same really as the AutoSet function, but without the motors to drive the carriages. And then you start looking at additional attachments, things like inspectors in the folder gluer, or quality control via code reading, an HHS application or a Leary application, for example. We spoke a minute ago about the Dyna-i being an offline inspection system. We also have an inline inspection system, which is the Dyna Inspector. Again, as it's the last stage of the production, you need to make sure that your quality of your carton as it leaves and goes into the outer case going to your customer is 100% accurate. And the more you can automate that process, the safer it is. And also, by automating it, we are then enable them to run it faster. So you really are setting up a PDF, which is again coming from your pre-press department, down to the system, and then we are comparing that to the golden image that we're creating by putting a carton through the machine and checking that the carton matches the PDF. And then we can produce a quality report at the end of it. So every carton that's going down, we're checking the accuracy of that carton before it goes out through the customer. Furthermore, we have other systems that we can add to it. So Braille, for example, can be added into the system. Again, this is a way of automating Braille application in a folder gluer, taking away the pressure from the die cutting department, perhaps, where if you're talking pharmaceutical cartons, you may be talking 24, 36 up on a sheet, for example, where you have 24, 36 dies you have to set. Here on the folder gluer, you set one die in the machine. And obviously the make ready times are then much, much quicker. And the quality then, as a result, is also improved. A folder glue will only ever run as fast as the takeoff that you have on the back. And if you have people on the back of the machine, they are also susceptible to becoming tired as the shift becomes longer. And also, you're having to ask them to do the quality inspection at the same time, make up the outer cases, seal the case, put a label on the case, put it on a pallet. And if we can automate as much of that process as possible, we can reduce the labor. So here we have two simple examples of a Dyna Easy Packer, which is a semi-automatic takeoff system, ideally suited for straight line, lock bottom, four corner, and specialty cartons. And the Dyna Packer 4.0, which is the automated version, where we have the ability to pack up to 200,000 cartons an hour. But that really is a straight line carton packer, also suitable for four corner cartons. And because of the method that we control the cartons before it goes into the packer, we can also run sleeves through there. But how far do you want to take automation? You can go a lot further. And the example here on the right-hand side of the screen, you start to see automatic feeding of the folder gluer. So we're taking cartons directly from the stack with the robot. We take off the layer card and we place that into a separate area. And then we feed the folder gluer. So you're automating that process as far as you want to. And how far do you want to go on the back end? So after the Dyna Packer, you can then also link that into automatic case erectors, case sealers, robotic palletizing systems. Really, automation will go as far as, I guess, really your budget, your floor space, and your production requirements will take you. Maybe you have a problem at the moment where run lengths are also decreasing and you're starting to produce composite sheets on your printing press. How are you dealing with those composite sheets once you get it into the finishing section? Traditionally, I think you'll probably be sorting those manually, or you're running 4 or 5 pallets at the feeder of your folder gluer and taking off just the die station that's relevant for that particular job. Here we have an automated process, which is taking the individual stacks from the composite pallet sheet of products and putting them onto individual pallets. So those pallets can be taken in their entirety back to the machine and put down the respective folder gluer at a high speed and without the risk of intermixing. So there's lots and lots of different solutions that are available. And this has been one of the strengths of Heidelberg working with Masterwork and vice versa, because it really is a joined up approach now and looking from end-to-end production and trying to find the solutions that suit the marketplace. And those solutions, as we've described here a little bit at the beginning here, which it can be varied from small, short-run production also to high-end production. This slide here just gives you a very brief overview of all the different types of equipment now being produced for the post-press market, whether it be die cutters, hot foiling machines in different levels and different sizes, folder gluers and peripherals and offline inspection modules. As I said at the beginning, this is a very big subject to cover in a few minutes, and this was just a few highlights that we think that Heidelberg can certainly influence to increase your productivity and also to automate the process. So hopefully you found that interesting, and hopefully we get to see you at some point in the near future in one of our showrooms to show you the relevant machinery that we've been talking about this morning.
Thank you very much, Paul, for your talk there. So it's quite clear if we're going to be sustainable, that automation is an essential tool to improve efficiency and thus productivity. It's great to hear about the technology as well from Heidelberg and MK Works that can help transform the way our companies work. With us today, as I said earlier, is Adam Page, the Director of Research and Reports at Smithers. I'd just like to ask Adam to maybe comment on that or give us some of his thoughts on this subject, maybe for a mid-sized press printing cartons for packaging, what automation tools and technology would be best suited.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was a very interesting talk. As I said, we're kind of tracking the market for print. We're doing a lot of work on the impact of sustainability, and certainly the Heidelberg Climate Report has been a really useful tool in order to kind of really understand what's going on in the market. From our research, it's clear that sustainability is a real hot topic and top of mind for converters, brand owners, and printers. It's not a fad, it's part of how companies are thinking and working, and some of the key metrics that are within these companies and driving business decisions is now driven by that sustainability agenda. So I guess just a question I have, having now kind of looked through the presentation, the interesting presentation we just had, is how are printers and converters thinking about sustainability, and what metrics are they using to make decisions? Because it's obviously very important to look at automation and waste reduction, but I'm very curious if there's some feedback from the team here about how printers and converters are really thinking about sustainability.
Next up on our lineup is Mr. Harald Woerner, who is the Product Manager for Environment and Sustainability at Heidelberg Druckmaschinen. A very high profile topic in both the media and our industry is going green or being sustainable. We're poised on the edge of a climate crisis, really. We at Heidelberg are eager to help shepherd the industry and push to improve sustainability, doing our bit to mitigate the impact on the environment. Harald will be speaking today on the topic of how green can you make your printing process.
As Simon just mentioned, we are in the middle of the climate change. We have increased level of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, and this leads to rise in temperature due to the greenhouse effect. The Earth experiences the highest temperature measured ever. So young people all over the world are demonstrating to make the governments and industry aware of the urgency of climate change. This leads to change in the buying behavior, especially of the youth. We in our industry try to reflect that trend. So I am sometimes asked, what is the easiest way to green printing? Green printing is a process of continuous improvement. There is not just a single screw to use. It all starts in management, and there with conviction and persuasion, and with education and involvement of the whole company. It includes all areas. It starts with the building and it goes through all departments, pre-press, press, post-press, and everything else. Paper has got the biggest share of the carbon footprint on a printed product. So it's important to take all measures to reduce waste sheets. You all know that, and you do that anyway, because ecology and economy really go hand in hand in this point. And the same is true with material savings. So Heidelberg has got very efficient technologies to support those two aspects. However, today I would like to focus on two a bit more special topics. The one is carbon neutral equipment and energy efficiency. You can buy all Heidelberg equipment, either for pre-press, press, and post-press, carbon neutral. How is this done? Heidelberg developed together with the University of Darmstadt a methodology to calculate the carbon footprint of a product. And the renowned institute, Fraunhofer Institute, certified our process and that we do this calculation correctly. Therefore, Heidelberg can issue carbon neutral certificate for compensated products. So when a customer buys carbon neutral machine, Heidelberg purchases certificates from a most sustainable reforestation project in Sodo in Ethiopia. This is certified according to the highest standard, the so-called gold standard. For each ton of carbon dioxide, 6 trees are planted to remove the carbon dioxide out of the air. That is the place. It's about 300 kilometers south of Addis Ababa, where our reforestation project is. This is a very sustainable project because a part of planting little trees, a special method called farmer-managed natural regeneration is applied. This method uses existing tree stumps where surplus branches are cut back correctly and proper trees grow again very fast. On those 2 pictures, you can see what already happens after only 2 years. Our Sodo project contributes to 11 of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Heidelberg puts special focus on the goal number 4, which is education. And that is absolutely important to me because our goal is to invest a little money that is put aside from each ton of carbon dioxide being compensated for social development. And our goal is to invest that money into an extension of a local school because we feel education is the most important driver of sustainability. What have we achieved so far? In total, our customers in Heidelberg have nearly 700 machines offset. And in order to remove the carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere, 276,000 trees have been planted. So I'm often asked, how much is that really? Let's put a picture in there. There are about 300 trees being planted per soccer field. So in total, if you do that over the full amount of trees, a total amount of 920 soccer fields have been planted full with trees. Or if you should know the Heidelberg factory area, it's 9 times the Heidelberg factory area, which is covered now with trees due to carbon dioxide emission reductions with our reforestation project. Now let's talk about energy efficiency, because energy is a very important topic when it comes to carbon footprint of a printed product. Heidelberg invests a lot into energy efficiency of its equipment. And I want to focus on the 4 main components that pay in for high energy efficiency. First of all, it's our main drive. It's a so-called sinus synchron motor, which has got an efficiency of 95%, whereas normal DC controlled motors have an efficiency of 90%. You might say 5% difference doesn't sound like a big deal. If you look at it from the other way around, so there are 5% losses on this motor and 10% on the other motor. That means half of the losses only. Our dryer, DryStar, has got 3 main reasons why it's so energy efficient. It has the closest distance to the sheet of only 80 millimeters. And you all know that from your hair dryer, the closer you get to your hair, the hotter it gets, the better the efficiency. We have got round nozzles, and these round nozzles distribute the hot air most evenly over the sheet and blow the moisture away. And we have got the heat registers in the cassette itself and not outside, where we have to convey the hot air via pipes and have already losses on that way. Let's talk about our AirStar. Fast rotating motor is the most efficient way to produce compressed air. And our turbo radial blowers have 14,000 revolutions per minute. So this is double the efficiency of the so-called side channel blowers. And our CombiStar Pro has got a so-called digital scroll compressor, and this takes only that much energy out of the grid as is needed for cooling. And if you have the outside cooling device with temperatures below 20 degrees Celsius, you don't need the active cooling at all. Now, you all know from cars, the faster you drive, the more fuel you need per 100 kilometers or miles or whatsoever. With printing presses, the situation is totally different. A printing press has a certain amount of energy or power intake. I need to say power intake, even if it's very slow. And from then on, the power intake increases linearly with speed. That is because there's no wind resistance, because aerodynamic resistance goes in the square with the speed, and this printing press is standing still. So what does it mean for the energy efficiency per 1,000 sheets? So it gets better the faster you go, because your basic power need is distributed over more output. And therefore, the most efficient way to operate a printing press is to always go full speed. And if you're done, stop and then switch to standby. So taking all these energy efficiency matters together, I made a comparison between a flagship of our Heidelberg CD102 from 1990 and our Speedmaster XL106 2020 push to stop. In the Kyoto Protocol, an energy efficiency gain from 1990 to 2020 of industrial processes of 20% is required. However, Heidelberg achieved with this energy improvement more than 40%, doubling the requirements of the Kyoto Protocol. So if you give me a few more times, I would like also to focus on the Heidelberg sustainable production, because having good products is one thing, but I think for me it is important as well that we really do lots of effort in producing them in a very sustainable manner. So first of all our production sites are ISO 14001 certified, that is the management for environment. We are really keen to do a real sustainable production. So we put solar cells on our roof. This is here the roof of our R&D building, for example. We have got a combined heat and power plant to produce electricity and hot water, which has a very good efficiency. We invest in LED lights in all our production halls. We take care on a very high recycling rate. There's only 3.9% of our waste going to landfill. Our apprentices have built an insect hotel to help biodiversity, where we have a wildflower meadow on our production site. And we do lots of trainings with our employees, whether on the workshop floor or in the offices, on sustainability, because people, that makes the difference. That's all what is important. We all know carbon dioxide emissions are still rising. That leads to climate change. And this leads to pressure from young people on industry and government, and to change in buying behavior. So Heidelberg is really sustainable in doing all its businesses, and we offer environmentally friendly presses, which then on the other turn leaves to business opportunities for you out there in the markets, for your customers, for your print buyers.
One concern that many of our audience have raised is not just initiating these sustainable processes, but maintaining these green processes.
The research shows this is not a fad. This is a long-term trend. This is a factor that customers and your customer's customer are considering and using as a metric or as a way of choosing what to buy and how to buy. And it's something over time that will become more measurable, and there will be more expectation to show how green a process is or how sustainable a process is. So considering the long-term impact, the long-term opportunities, and making those decisions now will set up businesses printers or converters for more success in the future.
Finally then, our last speaker today is Matt Rockley, who is the Product Executive, Sheet Fed and Digital at Heidelberg UK. Matt is also the conduit to the factory at Heidelberg Druckmaschinen, world-leading expert in sheet-fed products. He's been with Heidelberg for 25 years now. His crowd-winning presentations attract significant attention at corporate expos and events. So we're very privileged to hear from him today on the subject of new innovations and technologies from Heidelberg, especially in the world of short-run printing. So Matt's topic today that he will be addressing us on is short-run work, utilising innovations and technologies from Heidelberg.
Heidelberg have invested a huge amount of time and technology in order to meet our customers' demands. Of course, we don't just make a machine which goes out to the market and the market decide how to use it. We're taking the information from the areas which customers are feeling some pain in today. So I've got two videos which I'm going to play today, and thankfully we have a resident in the factory in the name of Paul Thompson, who's done a fantastic demonstration, which I'm going to show you on the XL106. This particular innovative idea, which is used by packaging companies, is to reduce the make-ready time and improve efficiency, therefore giving us the sustainability that is required from our customers. So I'll run the video, and just as a precursor to that video, before we go through that, many of the items within the current process, which if you like would be modular in terms of time, so a blanket wash for example, or a roller wash, or a make-ready process, the new XL106 with high color multi-drive, the next video I'm going to show you, has managed to take those timelines, rather than being a horizontal timeline of say 20 minutes for 4 processes. The process is now being done vertically, so we're seeing extremely fast make-ready times. But of course that means that there's an energy reduction aspect to it. We're running with IPA free. We have dampening systems which are have been improved, which allow us to cope with the IPA free process. And I'll run the video, and then after that we can have a little a view through that.
The data has arrived from the Pronect workflow at the new Speedmaster XL106 control station, and all the information is now available. So this new Speedmaster generation offers a completely new way of operation, the Heidelberg user experience. Our presses guide and navigate the printer through the individual work steps, and not the other way round. IntelliStart, which is included in every Speedmaster and determines all the necessary job changeover activities fully automatically, and that's for up to 50 jobs in advance. The production of this pharmaceutical folding box will soon be over, and after which we will then switch to a cosmetic carton. But since the job changeover only takes about 3 minutes, we need to speed things along a little bit, Christoph. But what are we seeing now on the wall screen?
Yeah, here we go. So the job change begins already. Let's take a first look on the IntelliGuide. And you see the progress bar underneath the machine schedule. And what we see here is the job sequence and the duration. It's clearly structured to operator, machine, autoplate, and multi-drive. What we're doing now is an ink change in unit number 1. During the same time, we change the printing plates and wash the blankets. And after that, we fully automatic change the coating plate.
Okay, so that's what high color multi-drive stands for. The intelligent inking unit drive makes the inking unit independent, but always remains in connection with the machine's gears. Now, this means that the inking unit can be shut down while production is in progress, or the inking unit can be washed parallel to the blanket and also the impression cylinders. But incidentally, the new Speedmaster XL106 can also wash the impression cylinder of the coating unit fully automatically. An Autoplate XL3 makes it complete. The separate drive of the plate cylinder enables plate changing parallel to washing, and all this is done in 3 minutes?
Yes, absolutely, in 3 minutes. After that, the press goes to the production automatically, and ink press control starts to control ink and register. And because this happens very quickly, the printer has the IntelliRun, which changes all the views from the press center and the wall screen automatically. I don't have to worry about this. This is full automatic.
Okay, so this works in the same way as navigation in a car.
It is, yeah.
Okay, then I'll leave you to the job change and I'll have a closer look at IntelliLine.
Yeah, okay, see you.
With IntelliLine, you can see at a glance from the outside what's going on the machine. An LED display is integrated into the printing unit. Blue signals, as it just was, that it was in production, and green means that an automatic make-ready process is in progress. And the yellow light shows the operator where he must now intervene. So I'm now back at the press center. How are we getting on with our make-ready, Christoph?
Yeah, it's just a few seconds left. Then the machine will start again automatically. You see the screen already switched over to the in-press control mode. And when the IntelliGuide is finished now, the IntelliRun will also switch the screen of the wall screen. And then we see the in-press control, the inspection control, and all this at one time, full automatically.
So it really is an automatic make-ready.
It is, yeah.
Thank you, great job. Frequent colour changes play a major role, especially in packaging printing. Special colour make brands unmistakable, but also lead to more wash-ups when changing jobs.
We used this printing unit at the previous job. We don't need it now, therefore I can do the wash-up during my actual production and prepare this unit for the upcoming job. It's the perfect time to wash the ink rollers, including the ink duct. This saves time during the job change and assists me at the same time.
And the wash assist determines the degree of soiling, for example, on the basis of the ink coverage or the print run, and selects the optimum wash program. Now, this simultaneously saves washing time and detergent, and therefore money and resources. Impress Control is the only inline system that controls register and colour from the start based on LAB, and not just on sometimes misleading density measurements. It not only ensures incredibly fast setup, but also stable control during production. And all measured data is available afterwards as proof of quality. As inking and dampening go hand in hand, Christoph, how does that link to High Color Pro?
Yeah, Paul, non-optimized inking and dampening unit settings are one of the main reasons for quality problems and have been since the beginning of offset printing. High Color Pro enables the amount of dampening solution to be dosed independently on the operator side and the drive side, while the press is running directly here from the press center. I can check my results immediately at the delivery. Excuse me. Take a look.
Smart is also the new intelligent waste management system. The focus is on Inspection Control 3 for detecting even the smallest defects. And all the information required for this has already been transferred to the press via Pronect workflow with the job data. We now show the inspection by having placed previously marked sheets into the feeder pile. But Christoph, what will we actually see?
Inspection Control detects the errors in printing and displays them on the wall screen. You see here now the errors.
Okay.
With the new device assist, I have defined in advance what happens when an error is detected. A good sheet or a PDF can serve as a reference. I can store up to 10 profiles depending on the type of error. For example, a strip is inserted in the stack, an acoustic or optical signal is activated, or the sheets are immediately ejected completely with the waste sheet ejector.
So the link to Inspection Control is only one example. The device assist is a new step towards smart waste management and quality control. Efficient waste management is all about separating the unsaleable from the saleable sheets. When supplemented with CodeStar, an inkjet system prints a unique sheet ID. This enables the detected errors to be clearly assigned to the individual printed sheets. Christoph, hi. How are you getting
Paul.
on?
Yeah, the production is finished.
Okay, great. Can I have a sample sheet of the pharmaceutical carton?
Sure. Here you are.
Super, looks great. Thanks very much for your help. Thank you.
Most welcome. Bye-bye.
It's incredible, really, to see the evolution that's happened now within a printing machine. If you cast your mind back to 20 years ago, that would have all been manual. Would have had to visibly check everything, and everything that you would have done on that particular demonstration would have probably taken 10, 15 times longer. So, of course, trying to reduce the wastage, especially where materials are concerned, is key to maintaining sustainability. Just like Harald said, for the carbon footprint for which material adds to us. So, for the second part of the video, sorry, for the second part of the press presentation, I'm just going to show an Anicolor presentation, which is more aligned, or should I say, is more popular in the pharmaceutical packaging environment, where this is a B2 press, where run lengths are smaller, therefore the press is smaller. And again, this shows where Heidelberg have managed to digitize the processes within the printing process. So I'll run the video, and then again we can have a quick look or a quick conversation thereafter.
Welcome to Heidelberg. My name is Christine Kaza, and I'm a product manager. More and more, packaging printing is dominated by short runs. More product variations and increasing pre-production or post-production can reduce run lengths. With its short make-ready times, minimal paper waste, and easy operation, the 2020 generation of the Speedmaster XL 75 Anicolor 2 is perfect for this. You can experience the Heidelberg UX on the Prinect Press Center XL3, among other things. The Prinect production manager prepares the jobs. The scheduler arranges them in the optimal sequence. You can find the result here in the job queue. All the information needed is sent directly to the press. IntelliRun and IntelliGuide provide the necessary overview on the Prinect Press Center XL3. Today, we'll be producing these 3 typical jobs easily, quickly, and economically, thanks to multicolor. Despite the small run sizes and the number of spot colors, IntelliLine displays the status directly on the printing units. Since we are using the same substrates for the first 2 jobs, the job change takes place autonomously. The printing plates are simultaneously clamped using AutoPlate XL, and production starts. The Anicolor technology does not require ink zone settings and boasts extremely fast inking thanks to just 2 transfer points to the printing plate. With our short run of 230 units, the fact that optimal inking is achieved after just the 40th sheet, regardless of the print motif, is really beneficial. Prinect Image Control 3 now checks the quality. The spot colors on the sheet are measured in the mini spots. The spot colors are generated digitally ahead of time in pre-press with multicolor in the Prinect Color Toolbox. With multicolor, hundreds of spot color shades can be printed on one sheet without the need for manual mixing or the inconvenience of color changes. 7 colors, the 4 process colors as well as green, orange and violet, generate the spot colors with total precision. An 8th printing unit increases the flexibility, for example by making it possible to use special spot colors like gold, silver or corporate colors. For the food packaging, the operator changes the substrate. The press does the rest. The inking is adjusted in parallel with the make-ready process via the screen roller temperature and the Anicolor booster. The ink chamber can be removed or inserted together with the ink. The coating unit and dryer are designed for UV and water-based coatings, and thus offer a high level of flexibility. Delivery piles with neatly aligned edges are achieved with the Preset Plus delivery equipped with CleanStar, dynamic sheet brake, and honeycomb air delivery system. raised by 550 millimeters and with a speed of 16,500 sheets per hour, even long runs can be conveniently produced. It couldn't be easier or faster to produce 3 jobs without any colour changes and save up to 1,200 hours of wash-up time per year into the bargain. Have we whetted your appetite for the Speedmaster XL75 Anycolour 2 with multicolour process? Then get in touch with us. We look forward to hearing from you.
One of the huge things here with the multicolour software on this on the previous video is that by combining 7 colours together in a combination of different screenings of AM and FM screening, we're able to reproduce around 95% of the Pantone library. And of course that, as was noted in the video there, saving over 1,000 hours from a typical company's wash-up times and producing work with that instead is obviously beneficial for power reduction, beneficial for VOCs, beneficial for the use of solvent within the washing process, and of course cleaning materials for blankets and impressions. Going back to the first video, you'll have noticed that during one of the jobs that we were producing, we're actually able to wash a printing unit that was not being used. So again, we're reducing the commercial times, if you like, of those jobs. But of course, because the machine is still on main drive and we're able to wash a printing unit, that would have been done manually. Say 10 years ago, you'd have had to print a job, then stop, and then clean. So you can see how Heidelberg have digitized and dovetailed some of these processes together in order to give the environmental benefit.
Innovations and technologies by Heidelberg, when implemented correctly, can help any business improve their productivity and efficiency. So Adam, if I could ask you to comment on what you've just seen in the short run arena. Are multicolour and high colour technologies the right choices for presses looking to increase productivity?
Yeah, any technology that saves time, saves power, saves on waste is going to be beneficial to the business. It's going to lead to the bottom line, and it also feeds into the sustainability agenda that everyone is aware of and everyone cares about. So anything to automate, to make processes faster, more effective, more efficient, is going to be a good thing to consider.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the question and answer session now. Our first question then is to Matt. Matt, can you explain how multicolour software reduces waste elements of the print process, especially in pharmaceutical printing?
There is always a fear that the end user, not so much us as a customer, but the supplier to us, may not see their branded colour as they would see it if the artwork would be changed within the multicolour software. But the beauty of the multicolour software is you can rip the PDF file from a conventional Pantone or a PMS job through the system. That will do the relevant separations and give and identify in terms of a delta E possible or a delta E best match, how accurately our process is able to reproduce that particular Pantone color using the GOV system, which incidentally has come from a digitized background. That's from a digital process. And as the future rolls on, of course, we're going to see more and more interjection from short run or even personalized products within the digital arena. So that means that not only are we able to produce that in a cost efficient way, but of course the Anycolour, I know the video said there that the average is around about the 40 sheets for the make ready. In practice, customers are generally using around 60 to 80 sheets on a 6 or a 7 color process in the packaging environment, and of course that would be normally around about the 300 mark. So there's a huge saving to be had. And the main advantages for the pharmaceutical printer is, of course, wash-ups. They're not having to wash up several special colors to change each and every time they change a job. They're able to keep to a standardized process, so they can regulate the colors coming in, they can regulate the drying capacity, they can regulate the make-ready waste, and they can standardize the product and become perfectly reproducible for the job thereafter, should it come in every week or every month, depending on the short run nature of that job. It's also obviously not only available for packaging customers, it's also available for the commercial printer as well, where the make readies can be as much lower because the length of the machine is much smaller. So around the 30 to 40 mark for a commercial printer for the 4 or 5 color job, which makes for very efficient, sustainable printing.
The next question is a two-part question. It's not addressed to anyone specifically, so if anyone's feeling brave, what role does CO2 neutral paper play for Heidelberg? And does Heidelberg recommend to printers using CO2 neutral paper?
The CO2 neutral paper is, I think, the first step. But why not going a step further, having the whole print shop being offset? I know paper is the biggest part of a print shop, but in order to put a label on your printed product at the end of the day, this product is carbon neutral, then you have to get the full process being neutralized.
Yeah, you're right. It's a good point. It's not just one part of the process. It's the whole supply chain, which is where Adam has pointed out to us. It is from conception through to delivery, ensuring that everything that we're doing is CO2 reduced or neutral.
Harold, we've spoken a lot about machinery, but can you talk to us, what about consumables for green printing and what impact these have on our environment?
Oh, absolutely right. That's a very important question, because more and more print buyers require so-called eco labels on their printed products. And print shops can differentiate themselves if they're able to provide those eco labels. In order to put these eco labels on the product, you can only take several consumables. Heidelberg has put up a brand new criteria catalog with these requirements to achieve these eco labels. And with our Safria Eco line, we provide consumables for every part of the printing process, starting from CTP with processless plates, inks, coatings, rubber blankets, washing agents, etc., VOC free, and so on, and also with post-press PUR adhesives and so on. So these consumables are not toxic, corrosive, or irritant, or harmful, or dangerous, or whatsoever. So that's a big opportunities to differentiate oneself from others by using environmentally friendly consumables.
On behalf of Heidelberg, I'd like to say sincerely thank you to the audience for attending and for your questions at the end. I'd also like to thank our experts, Paul Thompson, Harald Woerner, Matt Rockley, and Adam Page. Thank you very much for your input and your talks today, guys. We will send the recording out of the webinar in the coming weeks, so in case you've missed any part of that for any reason, don't worry. And thank you again for joining us. We look forward to seeing you hopefully on our next webinar or when we're able to back in our showrooms. Thank you very much.